What is up everybody, my name is Tyler Potts and welcome back to another video in the 100 Days of Code series. Again, this is day 76 and in this video we're going to be creating this coffee parlor like landing page. Obviously there's not much to this, normally you'd build something cooler, but the thing we're focusing on is this smooth scrolling animation. So as you see, when I clicked about, it scrolls down to about and it basically the background like scaled inwards. If I do more, it doesn't scale anymore because obviously there's a cap on it. We don't want it to scale too much else it would get ridiculous, but that's kind of how it works. So you can see it's kind of like this nice little feeling that it backs out, and the home page you get this nice landing page, and on the about page the background becomes less dominant and backs out a little bit while the text can pop out a little bit more. So without further ado, let's get ready to create this video. So first things first, I'm going to stop my surfer so we don't have an issue when we come to start our own surfer layers. There we go, but that should now cannot be reachable. Nice, let's just for now open a new tab, close this root and go back to the home page. Cool, so now we want to open up the terminal and that is opened up on the wrong screen. So let's move that. Oh, if it will let me do what I want it to do. There we go. Now, let's move this stuff into our 100 Days of Code folder. Let's make a new directory, which is day 76. And this is a awesome background scrolling, animated background. Animated scroll. That's what we're going to call this. And let's cd into day 76. Cool, and let's open this up in your favorite text editor. For me, that is VS Code, and here we are. Very nice. So let's close out, didn't need that. Let's click here. Let's bring this up and pull it in a full screen for now because it just makes it a little easier to read and write. I'm going to say index.html, and in here I'm going to start off with a straightaway Emmet boilerplate. We're going to rename this to animated scrolling landing page. Yep, that's way too long. That's better. Wait, animated scrolling thing. Oh my god, that's what the name of this is going to be. We're then going to link up a style sheet. So we're going to say link main.css. We're not going to worry about folder structure for this tutorial because it is quite a simple one. It's got to be quick and simple. It is like 20 plus Celsius here and it's killing me. Main.js. There we go. So now we've got all the files we need. So I'm going to quickly paste in this image. So there's the image. Just need to grab that image for us. Nice. So we've got the body, we've got the style sheet. Let's create the two files we need. We've got main.css, which can have no ink in it for now, and main.js. Okay, let's come up with the page structure first. So first things first, we're going to need a page wrapper. You don't necessarily need a page wrapper, but I like the page wrapper. It's kind of cool. We're then going to have a scrolling background element, and this is going to be the element behind everything else. It's going to be what scrolls the page behind it. So it's kind of cool. It's really nice. It's a nice little thing to do. We're then going to have a header, and this is going to have the ID of home because we need to set up IDs so we can have targets to scroll to. I'm going to say H1, and this can say the coffee parlor, and then a H3, which is going to say great taste, great atmosphere. That's a great slogan. We're going to have a nav.navbar. So this is just going to be where our links are. And we're going to have 3 anchor tags with the class of nav link. And we're not going to actually have a href. But in here we're going to have home. Oh, I didn't actually duplicate that how I wanted it. That's cool. We're going to set a data element called scroll to. And the scroll to basically is where we want it to scroll to. So we want to scroll it to the item with the ID of home, and that's why we use hashtag home. The second one is going to be about, so we're going to do a similar thing, and the final one is going to be called more. There we go. Now, I'm going to create a main tag here, and inside the main, I'm going to have two sections. I'm going to say section times two. Actually, I'm going to say section hashtag about, and then a section hashtag more. So they're the two things we're going to need. Inside of the about section, we're going to have an H2, which is going to say about our coffee, and a paragraph, which has just got some boilerplate lorem ipsum in. Again, the same with the more section. We're going to say H2, more about coffee, because everyone wants to learn more and more about coffee every single day. It's very intriguing. And there we go. Now we've got a paragraph. Let's just split this up because it really annoys me else. I just want to make sure that looks good. And there we go. Nice. So that should be everything we really need for the markup. So that is it. That's all the markup we need for this thing. Obviously, in a production, if you're building an actual website, it's going to be a lot more markup. But all you need to really know is to have this scrolling background and then your elements placed here. Now, the CSS is where it comes into play slightly. So the first thing first, we're going to set up some resets. We're going to say everything's margin to 0, everything's padding to 0. The box sizing of everything is equal to border box because it's called a tiler tip. So we're going to have a tiler tip, and this tiler tip is box sizing will save you hell and having to calculate the width and stuff of things without having to use like minus 15 pixel padding and stuff like that. So this, if you add padding of 15 pixels, it's not going to affect your actual widths. So we're going to say font family, and we're going to say Roboto, just because it's a nice simple font I have installed on my machine, so I don't have to install anything. You probably won't have it installed, so you can either install it or just use a different font, any font you prefer. We're going to say body, background, that's not used a background color. And we're going to set this to F3, F3, F3. We're going to set the overflow to hidden. This is going to stop us from scrolling manually, which may be an issue, but I want it to be controlled scrolling. I don't want there to be any way, so I want it to basically control the scroll from the JavaScript, which this won't actually work in everything, the actual scrolling part, so you could just leave normal scrolling on. I'll demonstrate that at the end, because this won't work for like IE and stuff like that. So if you need to support IE, you'll need to enable normal scrolling. The background will still scale down and everything like that. It's just the actual scrolling won't automatically do a smooth scroll. Anyway, so the thing we need to mainly focus on is the scrolling background. We want to say scrolling background. We want to display it as a block level element, although it already is, so that's pointless. We're going to say position fixed because we want it to be fixed to the background of the screen. We're going to give it a width and a height equal to the full viewport width and height. We're going to give it a top of 0. Let's move that out. Let's say top of 0, bottom or left of 0, right of 0, and that's it. Just to be fair, we could just give it a top. We don't need anything else there. These are just extras I'm adding for no reason. And then we're going to give it a C index of 0 because we want this to be the background element. We're going to have to give everything else a background a bit higher. So as you can see, we're going to need to give the main and the header and the navbar all higher C indexes. But that's fine. We can work on that as we go along. So the next thing I'm going to style is the header. So the header is another essential part of this because obviously it contains the main landing page content. So we're going to set the width equal to 100 viewport width, and the same with the height. That's not how you do it, Tyler. Get your stuff together, mate. Say display flex flow column. We're going to say justify content center and align items, or align content, no, align items center. We want everything to be centered. We're also now going to set this position to relative so we can change the Z index, and we're going to change Z index to 1 because we only need it to be 1 above. We're then going to set the header H1, and we're going to set the header H1 to be equal to a color of white and a font size of 72 pixels. The header H3 will have the color of a very light gray, so it doesn't stand out more than the font title, and we're also going to give this a font size of 42 pixels. Now, if we actually need to sort out the background for this as well, because I'm not actually going to see it. So let's say background. We're just going to set this to a default 171717, but then we're going to add the background image. So that first bit is the backup, this or the fallback, and now we're actually adding in the stuff to make the cool looking background. We're going to make it cover this, and we're also going to have a background position of center. So I think we've got enough there to actually visualize it. So in our terminal, I'm going to open up the integrated terminal. I'm going to run live server dot. To install live server, you need to have a knowledge of Node.js. Again, there's a prerequisite to live server. You could just open up the index file if you know how to open up HTML files. But if you want to use live server, which automatically refreshes, you'll need to do npm i live server or -g for global live server to actually install it. And then you can run the same command I just did, which will open up this. There you go. So now we've got this. We also will have some more stuff coming forward, but we can't scroll right now, right? There's not much we can do. I also want to set the font weight of the H3 to 300. I want it to look, there we go, look less appealing than the title. The title is the main thing. This is the second element. So this looks kind of cool. Obviously, normally you'd have a lot more content on there and stuff like that. But for now, that's how we're going to work it. After the header, we're going to say navbar. And then navbar is going to have a width of 100 vertical width and a height of 60 pixels. It's going to be position fixed. We're going to say it's left equal to 0, it's right equal to 0, and its bottom equal to 60 pixels. We're then going to display it as a flex item, and we're going to justify the content center, align the items center, and then we're going to give this a C index of 9999. The reason for that is because we always want the navbar to be on top, because it's the main way of scrolling on our page currently. So without it, if we were unable to click it because it went behind something, it means you would be stuck at the position on the screen, because we've removed the ability to scroll. Okay, so once we've got that nav bar down, we want to say navbar.navlink, and we're going to give this a color of white, text decoration of none, padding of 15 pixels so it's easier to click, and a cursor of pointer. We're also going to give it a quick hover state, so we're going to say navbar.navlink hover, and we're going to say background color RGBA 255 255 255 0.1. It's going to be super subtle, but that's how we like it. So let's go over, there we go. So we've got these elements down here. Now they don't do anything just yet. That's where the JavaScript's going to come in. But this is looking all right. It looks okay. There's probably more things we could do to make it look better, but for now that is perfect. So the next part we want to do is we want to get the main item, and we want to give it a position of relative with a C index of 1, just so it's ahead of the background. Then we're going to set some default section styling. So each section is going to have a height of 100 vertical height. We're then going to set the about section to be display flex. Actually, this could actually all go in one thing. So we're going to say display flex, or flex flow, column, justify content center, align item center. And then we're going to give it a padding of 100 pixels, because when it scrolls out, we're going to have white text on white background if we let it overflow. Now, we want to say section H2. We want to give it a color of white. We want to give it a font size of 48 pixels, a font weight of 700, so it's bold, a text transform of uppercase, margin bottom, oh that's margin block, margin bottom of 30 pixels, and a text align of center. Now we also want to do a similar thing for the paragraph. We want to give it a color equal to the really light gray. This is so it doesn't take away from the title, the H2 tag. We're going to give it the font size of 18 pixels, the font weight of 300, text align center. Then we'll give it a max width of 600 pixels. We're just going to display it as block and then give it a margin of 0 auto. Now, if we go back and we refresh, again, we can't see anything because we need to hook up the scroll. So I'm going to quickly disable the overflow hidden so we can scroll a little. And there you go. So there we go. That is now looking good. Obviously, you can see there's some issues here because obviously there's a few things which need doing, but we can fix that. Let's figure out why it actually is to start with. Actually, I think I know why it is. There we go. So the actual issue with what was happening there was because I had my mouse. So I was just double checking what was going on there. Yeah, it's because I had my mouse plugged in. When I have my mouse plugged in, for some reason it adds the bar to the bottom and the right of the screen, which is very odd. But yeah, that's that. Let's unhide this now, or let's make sure it's hidden again. We just want to see what it looked like. And let's go back to the CSS. So I'm pretty sure this is done with the actual CSS side of things. So the last thing we need to do is go into our JavaScript. And now this is where it gets important. So we want to have a window.add event listener, and we want to listen out for the scroll event listener. So anytime we scroll, we want to call this function. And actually we don't need that E. We then want to say set background pos, which is going to be a function we create called set background position. And this is basically going to set the background scale basically. So maybe we could rename that to scale. So we're going to say let y, and we're going to say equal to window.page y offset. So this gets the where you've scrolled to on the page. So if we scroll from the top to, let's say, 5 pixels down, this will be equal to 5 pixels. We then want to say let initial equal 1. So this is the initial scale. So we're actually going to give this initial scale. We're then going to say let new scale equal initial scale minus y minus 10,000. And the reason for 10,000 is because we don't want it to, when we scroll, we don't want the value to like decrease and the background to shrink really quickly. We then want to say if new scale is less than 0.9. So if it goes below 0.9, we'll say new scale is equal to 0.9. The reason for this is because, again, we don't want it to scale down too much because that's not what we want. Now, we need to get a value here. So we need to get the page background value. So we're going to say, we'll actually do it in here. We'll say const page background is equal to document.query selector. And inside the query selector, we'll say dot scrolling background. And I'm actually going to move this out for performance reasons. We don't want to call this every single time we scroll. So we've got this page background. Let's say page background dot style dot style dot transform. And this is where we change the scale. So we're going to set here, we're going to use backticks, and we're going to say scale. We're going to set the scale equal to the new scale. And that is it. That's all you need to do for this. We also need to set up the actual scrolling function. So we're going to say function scroll, and we're going to say scroll to, because that's what we're going to pass through. We'll say const element is equal to document dot query selector scroll to. So we're going to pass this through from our elements here. So our nav links after this data scroll to. When we click on these, we're going to pass the scroll to element, so the data attribute here, home, to here, which is going to get the home attribute selector, which is this. which is then going to allow us to do this element dot scroll into view. And here we can set a behavior. So if we didn't have this behavior thing here while I was about writing, it would instantly scroll to this position. But we don't want it to do that. We want it to be smooth scroll. So we're going to say behavior smooth. So that's going to allow it to scroll really smoothly. We now need to say const nav links is equal to document dot query selector all, and we'll say dot nav link. And once we've done that, we now want to loop through all our links. We're going to say for let I equal 0, I is less than nav links dot length I plus plus. We want to say let nav link equal nav links I, so it's going to give us return the value from that array, from this nav links array, as a singular nav link. And then we're going to say nav link dot add event listener click. So when we click on any of the nav links, we want to say scroll, so our function we've named up here. And then we're going to say nav link dot data set. So we're going to get the data value, which we set as scroll to earlier. And that's going to pass through the element we want there. Now, I think that is it. So let's have a look how this works. Let's refresh and let's click home. Okay, so it doesn't quite work. Neither does the background scrolling. Why is that? Let's have a look into the code. So we've got a home ID, the class, navlinks, ID, ID more, and we've got the scroll tos here. So ID home, ID about, and ID more. So they're fine. We're now saying in here page background is equal to document.query selector. So we'll query selectoring one thing. And we're getting the scrolling background, which is correct if I'm correct. So class of scrolling background, let's paste that in, it's correct. And then we're checking for this if we're scrolling. Let's quickly console log here, console.log. We're going to say window.page_y offset. And this should give us the position of the page. Let's open up our tab on the right, let's refresh and let's scroll. Oh, we can't scroll. Let's click about. So we scrolled straight to 969. If we scroll about, we scroll to 1938. And if we go back to home, it goes back to 0. Good, so that's working. The scroll function is working. Set background scale. So now we say window.page_y offset. Then we say initial scale is equal to 1. Let new scale equal initial scale minus y minus 10,000. New scale, if it's less than 0.9, we're going to say it's 0.9. Now we say page background dot style dot transform. See, I missed out the S there. So that should be transform. So now if I click next, something broke. Still. Let's have a look what broke. So style dot transform is equal to scale new scale. Let's console log new scale quickly. Console.log new scale. Hit save, refresh, click about. Oh, okay, that is way too high. Oh, I did minus. That's supposed to be divided by 10,000. Right. There you go. So now as you can see it scrolls out, but the smooth scrolling isn't working. So that's another thing we need to fix. Let's go back here, let's have a look. So we've got a class of navlink, which we're getting here. So anything with the class of navlink, so query selector all, so that gets all the elements from document is equal to navlinks. And then we're saying let I is equal to 0, I is less than const.length I plus plus. So we're saying navlink is equal to navlinks I, And then we'll say navlink.addEventListener click. We're passing through a function and we're saying to scroll to navlink.dataset.scroll2. Console.log. This is a good debugging session, guys. I haven't done one of these in a while. So now if we click about, we get about. So yeah, that's working. Well, we know that's working because it's jumping there. It's actually this. Scroll into view. Oh, I put a U in behavior. My bad. That was my bad. So now if we click home, there we go. We've got the scrolling action. Let's remove that console log. There we go. Debugged, guys. I'm going to leave that in because I don't think that was too much of an issue. But let's hit about. It scrolls out. Let's hit more. And it scrolls out just a teeny bit more, but not a lot more. So as you can see here, the scrolling animation works. It looks pretty good. And I like that. So that is literally it. That is all we had to do for this really cool, like, scrolling out background. You could do loads of cool things with this. You could probably, instead of giving it this, we could give it like a percentage outwards or something, so it only goes like 5% out, and you could do a whole bunch of things in JavaScript, as you all know. But for now, guys, I hope you enjoyed this short video. I hope you enjoyed the debugging session. And without further ado, guys, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and drop all your comments and feedback down in the comment section below. Now, I'm going to show up the Patreons on screen as soon as this video ends, so don't forget to check those guys out. They're really awesome and support me a lot. If you want to support me, my Patreon is in the description. And you can also jump in our Discord channel, which is also in the description of this video. The GitHub repo will be in the description also. And without further ado, guys, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you in the next video. Peace out.